Hi, Genki Call here with your Soulforge offerings for the week of March 14th, 2022. Now a few days late, but here we go. There is something very significant in here, and I'm going to save it to the end to show you. So stay tuned for that. On troops, we have the Umbra Wolf, who is, it's okay. Does damage to the first two enemies, places a hunter's mark and a death mark on them, and then he transforms into a Nosferatu. The trick with this troop is don't ever cast with him, because the reason that you're going to be using him is to get a dark storm at the start of every turn. That's the big thing about this particular troop, is that persistent dark storm. So, would I craft it? No. But, if you desperately need something to create a dark storm, I suppose, or if you need something to get your Gulvania power level up, but otherwise save your diamonds for something you really want. Magnus, I think he's underrated, and he is a personal favorite of mine. I really love using him with Delves. In Delves, I love using him with Scorpius, because when you cast with him, he hits every enemy, and he diseases and poisons all of them. So Scorpius insta-kills anything that is poisoned, so that is really, really nice to have there. Also, he inflicts a random status effect on 4+ gem matches, which is super as well. That could be a death mark, that could be any negative status effect. So he's a pain to fight, but he's good to have on your team. And then we've got Dullahan, who is completely... if you're messing around and the stakes are low, there's really no reason not to try him out. I would definitely say do not craft him. He does damage to one enemy boosted by ally and enemy deaths, and then he kills either the first enemy or the first ally. So unless you're using him with a summoning team, like you have Flaming Oni with you, you have a weapon that summons, something like that, generally not really safe to use him, because he could very well kill your entire team, including himself. And the Gargoyle is not a very good troop. He is a necromancer, and if he's your only necromancer, you'd want to just trade him here and never use him. But that's entirely up to you, of course. Ascencia is only notable because she gives all dragon allies a 50% mana start. She does summon a light storm at the start of battle, which with dragons I generally don't use yellow, but still 50% mana start for dragons is nice. And she summons, but that's all she does. She might blow things up, but if you end up with just Ascencia on your team and you get a bunch of these dragon spirits, it's really slow. But like I said, 50% mana start. So that is it for the legendary. So let's go over the mythics now. And the first one here is the Worldbreaker. I haven't had him very long, but I used him in a delve recently, and I really enjoyed it. I used him with Centurigon, and it was a very nice team. I enjoyed it. Explode a bunch of gems on the board, deal damage to all enemies, making him great for delving, because this number goes up nicely because of your horde. He does have a 30% mana cost, so you need some way to get him filled up before he starts looping and doing damage to everyone. But generally when I'm doing a faction assault, I have potions, so... And he does gain 5 to a random skill on 4+ gem matches. That could be anything. That could be his magic, which would increase this number. It could be attack, armor, or health. So that's nice. And he is immune to Devour, which is also nice. If you're fighting High King Iron Gut or a Mimic or anything that can devour. Gargantuar, yeah. Not a great troop. I would say not great at all. Deal damage to one enemy boosted by all allies and enemies killed with a ×15 boost ratio. He can only hit one enemy for one thing, and you have to kill off your team in order for him to work. I actually want to test something out with him, and I may change my mind once I have him, but at this point, he is considered to be one of the worst mythics in the game. And gain 8 attack and magic when I take damage, great, but, not great, really. So I would not recommend Gargantuar at this point unless you've got to have it for Groshnak to get the power level up. I do, but I don't know that I'm willing to spend 4,000 diamonds to do that in Groshnak, so... Then we have the Champion of Anu. The Champion of Anu is currently in the event key drop table, so if you are considering crafting the Champion of Anu and haven't already done so, maybe wait till Sunday and make sure that you can't get him with your event keys first, if you're trying for him, that is, because you might get him with your event keys. He does silence, stun, and drain all mana from an enemy, does damage to them and all enemies below them. That means he can hit the entire team. If you hit the top troop up here, it'll hit the entire team, but it will still be able to hit submerged enemies, because technically it doesn't hit the whole team unless you cast it in a certain way. Therefore, you can still hit submerged enemies with it. Skull damage by 60% is very nice, and all blue allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn is also very nice on the right team. Lastly, the other ones are always here, yes. Lastly, we have Undine from Merlantis. So he does damage to 2 enemies, basically, an enemy and the one below them. Whether they're touching or not, it's not splash damage, so you can have one at the top and one at the bottom with 2 spaces between, and it will still hit both. Boosted by merfolk and submerged allies. Submerge blue allies, silence blue enemies. Because he's very specific on his spell, he's really only going to be good for Blue Guild Wars Day, in my opinion. I pulled him a while back and didn't even realize it, because I haven't used him since I pulled him. I don't even remember when I got him. And he submerges himself at the start of every turn, so that could be very annoying that can be very annoying to fight if you're doing a full AoE team, so... Anyway, I generally think none of these are really worth 4,000 diamonds, in my opinion, unless you need them for a power level and you have all of the ones you really want. But, you know, Ironhawk could be coming up soon. It hasn't shown up this cycle yet, so it could be coming up soon. And, you know, whatever else you want. If there's something you want more, save your diamonds. As for weapons, this is where we're going to get into the special thing I was talking about. First of all, let's look at these first 3 here. We've got the Edged Blade. It does damage to an enemy boosted by Sword's Edge allies. It then creates a mix of 6 blue and yellow gems for each Sword's Edge ally. This would be really great with, say, the Knight Coronet, whom I use a lot during Sword's Edge events. So I'm actually going to craft this one because, well, basically I need all weapons at this point in my gems career. Because I'm starting to get power level blocked by weapons, so I kind of have to have them all. But also we've got deal damage to 1 enemy boosted by Knight allies, then create a mix of 6 blue and red gems for each Knight ally. I personally cannot think of a good team to use this on right offhand, because, like I said, usually I'm using Sir Quentin Hadley, who's brown and yellow, Queen Isabel, who's blue and green, and Knight Coronet, who's yellow and blue. But I am going to craft it simply because, as I said, I need all the weapons. Must have all things. Craft all the things. Okay, Shield of the Edge. This is one of those cheap 75 diamond ones. If you need a weapon for Sword's Edge, this is a great way to do it. Remove all blue gems, deal 40 damage to an enemy, or sorry, that's my amount. Deal damage to 1 enemy boosted by the gems removed. You will not gain any of that mana, but it will boost the spell, and if the enemy is from Sword's Edge, deal double damage. So I will craft that one as well because I need it. And let's get down here to the other stuff I was talking about. So let's talk about Dawnbringer for just a second. These 3 weapons here are always in the Soulforge. These 3 are needed to craft Dawnbringer. You can see here they are 1, 2, 3. However, what's not always here is what you need for Duskbringer. these three things come from different kingdoms and only show up once every, whenever we go to that kingdom. So right now, one of these is in the Soulforge, and that is the Blade of Nefertani. Blade of Nefertani does damage to one enemy if they use purple, deathmark them, and, it's not a fantastic weapon, but you must have it to craft Duskbringer, and we may not be back here for another 10 months. It's just really random to me when we're going to visit a kingdom. So if you're thinking of crafting Duskbringer in the next, say, 10 months to a year, you might want to go ahead and craft the Blade of Nefertani. Alright, so that was the big thing here. Now there are a couple more here I see that I haven't mentioned yet. We've got Ulf's Wolves. Does true damage to an enemy, and if they're undead, eliminate all their armor, which seems a little odd because you're doing true damage anyway, but if the rest of your team is using regular damage rather than true damage, I guess it would be okay. It doesn't look like a great weapon to me, personally. Shield of the Edge, another one of the 75 diamond ones. Remove blue gems. This is, wait, I just crafted that one. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry about that. Let me scroll back down. Cane Sword. Edgeblade. Edgeblade is the one. No. I'm losing track of what I've done here. Okay, Ulf's Wolves was the only one I hadn't gone over yet. So, that is your Soulforge video for the week. I hope that you have enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you folks soon. Bye-bye!